Hello and welcome to DriveTimes podcast, your only source of fun, positive, uplifting, and emphasis on funny news and pop culture and anything that's going on that we find interesting.
Hey. Well, hi, Alex. How are you, man?
Yep, we're your hosts, the Dad Bonds.
Well, my name is Tony.
And I'm Alex. And let's get right into the news. Yikes. Stealing that from Keemstar. Let's go, Tony.
All right.
What you got, man?
So, starting off with a weird one and a pretty fun one. I believe no damage was done, so that's always a good start.
Well, that's a great start. No damage was done.
So, a loose cow led police on an hours-long chase in Texas. Just your typical cow, just being spotted in Walmart,
Texas.
In Texas, in the middle of a Target.
It was a Walmart again?
It was a Target. It was a Target parking lot at 2 a.m. I have no idea.
At 2 a.m.?
Yeah, at 2 a.m. I have no idea how it got out. But it took 3 different police departments to actually wrangle the whole thing together. Yeah, they got it.
You remember the movie as a kid, Chicken Run? The chickens who were trying to escape the chicken farm?
they built a plane out of
and
their
and they just escape and try to escape the farm. I feel like 2 a.m. I mean, it's like the movie is a show How I Met Your Mother. Like nothing good happens after 2 a.m. I feel like the cow was waiting.
He was definitely scoping it out. He's like, all right, owners are asleep. The rest of the cattle are asleep. I'm going.
I've watched this gate open 300 times.
Yes,
I know.
But you know where he ends up?
Where?
A Whataburger.
A Whataburger?
He goes through a Target parking lot, an oil exchange business.
It's pretty ironic.
And a Whataburger eatery, which is the worst place you can end up being if you're a cow. They ended up capturing him in
it took hours and 3 different police departments.
It took from 2 a.m. and then they got him. They said around rush hour.
You know, if
during the morning
murderer,
rush hour, so around 8 o'clock.
Like if a murderer or a criminal breaks out of jail and it's on the news and it takes all these departments and it's hours long and they're chasing them and trying to find them. Like a hardened criminal who knows how to get away from police.
Yeah.
And this is just cow.
They're
in Texas.
He's doing everything different than what a con would do. Do you think that it was harder or easier to catch a cow compared to an escaped convict?
My thing would be if you're looking for a cow and the cow doesn't really know any better that you're looking for them, then how in the poop diddly do you not find this cow quicker than a couple hours and using all the taxpayer money on 3 different police departments?
But so you know what's funny is actually as a kid I actually wrangled cattle, like a one-time thing.
Like a wrangler camp?
No, actual real
cow
life
camp?
Cow got loose.
Wow.
We didn't end up catching it. We gave up, but we got it backed into a corner of a field and we just left it. It was my grandfather, my dad's dad called. And my dad's dad's a very rough-looking guy. He was actually a cop. He was
he's the one who calls in the department.
Yes, he
all 3 of them.
He got a Purple Heart because he tackled a guy in courtroom that was fleeing, and they ended up going down a staircase, and he got injured on the job.
Holy cow!
And
play on words. Holy cow!
Yeah. So he's wrangled the convict before. But he called my dad and I at. This is in the middle.
Did he own cows?
No, but he knows the landlord who used to own all the property that my parents' house is built on.
Sure.
And he's land rich, and he had an escaped cow and
needed help.
You've passed this field before. In the my parents' house.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
A dozen times. Yeah.
I just didn't know you knew them or your grandpappy did.
Yeah, and
that you wrangled cows on their property.
Yeah, so it was a bull actually. It wasn't just this is a cattle, and there's a picture of it. It's probably the size of a typical size human. This was a full-on bull, and I was probably 8 or 9.
And they let you out wrangling a bull?
Yeah, they gave me a big stick. They probably gave me a 6-foot long branch.
That doesn't justify.
No, it didn't. It didn't. And I held it like a fence, and they said, "Stay here, pretend you're a fence." And me being an 8-year-old kid said, "Okay." All right, I don't know what I'm doing.
Me being an 8-year-old kid with an aspiration to be an actor, I said, "I will be the fence. I will be the fence.
I am the fence."
I am the fence.
Just stone cold silence.
Bull looks at you. Man, that guy's really good at acting.
That is a method actor, if you ask me. So, so they gave me this big stick, and they sat me in the field. And I remember the bull was running around, and then it took a sharp left and ran straight at me. And I remember seeing this vision vaguely. And my dad says he was like screaming at me to run, and I was just like, "You told me to stay, you told me to run." So I don't know if fear froze me, or just the cold froze me, or just me being so determined to capture this cow
and be the fence.
Yeah, and the bull ran at me and it just kind of wandered off. It was probably like 20, 25 feet from me.
That's still pretty scary. If it's
a full-grown bull, and I'm like
8.
Yeah, 8. Probably.
And your dad's telling you to run.
90
you're like,
pounds.
You're like, what character am I being? Am I being a fence or am I being a runner?
That's right. You can't do both. It's uncharacteristic to run as a fence.
I absolutely love that, but I just love how it's in Texas. Like their whole country's built off of cattle farming, and it took them
whole state.
I believe Texas is. No,
yeah, they retain their.
They believe that they're their own country.
They do. But yeah, it's you would think that they would have this sort of stuff on lockdown. Amateurs,
right? My goodness. In other news, I don't know how I can connect this, but yeah, I'm not. But this man paddleboards from California to Hawaii in 76 days.
Uh-huh.
I know you read this like going through, but I picked this one out for mine because I was like thinking in my head. Claire and I have been watching a lot of Naked and Afraid. And so we know all of this, like we see all these people doing these crazy things. Like, I mean, this guy's not completely naked, but he's still doing a feat in itself. Paddleboarding from California to Hawaii.
That's like over 1,000 miles, I think, right?
Let me see. How many miles is
crazy distance.
He traveled about 2,500 miles, and it took him 76 days. He left and set off from San Francisco on June 9th with a 90-day supply of food.
So this wasn't like your typical stand-up paddleboard. This had like a...
No, this thing... Okay, so that's what I thought too. But then it said his paddleboard, the Ocean Defender, measured 24 feet long.
That's a big board.
That's a boat.
That is
pretty much a boat.
And he's doing all that by hand, too. He probably has some
that's
wind
pretty insane.
assisting, I'm guessing.
I don't know. The picture I have here, I think that's what makes it a paddleboard is that it doesn't have a sail. And he has to paddle.
Dang. That's like what Tom Hanks did in Castaway.
Well said. Just screaming.
Yep.
But and he just had like a raft of some sort. And speaking of that, he also had a sail too. So this guy didn't even have that.
Dang.
And also in that, the same kind of thing happens. This dude goes through in this paddleboard through a hurricane.
Did he really?
Yeah, it wasn't like a crazy hurricane, but I mean, you're on a paddleboard.
You're getting I'm so amazed that it didn't flip.
Yes, so
if it
was
flipped, he was done.
Hurricane Flossie. Floozy? Flossie? I just imagine them like seeing that dumb floss dance thing and like naming a hurricane after that. But anyway, he had to redirect his journey because he was taken off course by this hurricane. That's just a triumph of the human spirit right there.
I mean, 76 days. And when I skimmed through this article, I didn't really dive into it.
Yeah.
There was a story about a guy who swam all the way around the island, England. He swam around the whole thing, but he didn't do it by himself. He had a team that was with him.
Sure.
And
like for safety or like swam with him?
For safety and after a few hours of the day swimming, he got back on the boat and ate and everything. And I mean, he's swimming, so he's in the water. You can't.
But I mean, paddling's...
But yes, I mean, so this guy, I was thinking like, all right, there was a boat that followed him that just watched him. He had a place to sleep every night, but he was like, no, I'm doing this by myself in solitude.
Yeah.
For more than 2 months by himself.
It said his next human contact came Friday, 76 days later, when he encountered a fishing captain, Kyoto Seward, off the coast of Molokai. in Hawaii.
Pretty much at his destination.
Yeah, pretty much. Like hitting one of the islands in Hawaii. I mean, the mental audacity. Now, and again, like I was saying, this really triggered me because, caught my eye because Claire and I have been watching, Naked and Afraid, and we're watching these people take 21 days in the wilderness.
And have mental breakdowns.
And they'll have mental breakdowns on like day 7.
Yeah.
From like the heat. Like there was this one time they were in Africa and the heat got to one girl so bad that she just had to tap out because of heat stroke. And like, I don't think people realize, well, they do. If you're not near the ocean or near like a body of water, when you're in the water, the sun beats down so hard because it also reflects off the ocean.
Yeah. So
you're sitting there and you're getting beat down from the head, beat down from the bottom. And it's just like heat and exhaustion, and this guy's paddling.
Physical work. And a giant boat that probably weighs more than a typical paddleboard. Yeah. I saw like he had like a little cabin that he can go inside and be dry.
Yeah.
And but that, I mean, as much, because they said this guy is an athlete, as much as of a physical feat this is more of like a, like you said, human spirit.
This is a tridecathon.
That's a lot. I mean, that is 25. That's almost the entire length of the U.S.
Literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3,000 miles approximately.
And he didn't go as a crow flies. He had to scurry around because Hurricane Floss.
Around a hurricane flossing.
Ugh. That's
crazy.
That's impressive, though. I'm actually
the human spirit is an inspirational thing. These people who can't break, they just show mental fortitude. And we should take something from that. Like, if you work hard enough, if you have a support system around you and train enough, you can do anything.
And that guy probably knows so much about himself now. I mean, just being like, alone and getting rid of all distractions and being alone with your own thoughts and not being influenced by other people, but being influenced. He didn't even have Twitter,
guys.
Yeah, they said that he had like a GPS.
Yeah, to help maintain his track, which would have just been so stupid if he didn't have some kind of way to navigate.
And I hope he had some way to have a contact with somebody.
I don't know, man.
Because that Pacific Ocean is large. It is huge. But that's amazing. I tell you, I can't imagine the view like every morning when you wake up. You have to watch the sunrise over just nothing.
Yeah.
Just the water.
I hope he saw a whale.
Whales.
I hope he writes a book about it.
Yeah.
Me paddleboarding and seeing one whale.
You know what else is going on in Wales?
What's going on in Wales?
A Welsh town is building anti-sex public toilets.
I see what you did there.
Using terrifying methods, including squealing alarms, doors flying open, and cold jets of water.
Oh my gosh.
So apparently this Welsh town, has such a problem with
coitus.
With public coitus, that they're spending $200,000 to upgrade its public toilet system.
$200,000?
$200,000 so that they can no longer allow inappropriate sexual activity or vandalism.
I get vandalism in a sense.
Yeah.
But
I can't imagine this being so much of a problem. So what they're doing is they're having jets of water will shoot out from the toilet whenever it motion sensors violent activity. So
what if I'm having a violent poop?
Yeah,
I'm just done.
I'm just extreme bidet.
It just opens up the door.
I can't. So like, what happens? So like, I get the trap. It's almost like a booby trap. Like
a booty trap.
A booty trap. And so the jets of water will shoot out. The doors fly open and a high pitched alarm will sound. So it's like you're caught. But if
that's eternal from some people.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding.
It's like let's see if we can set the alarms off.
Yikes!
But imagine like if you're taking a violent poop and you're like explosive diarrhea.
Oh, you're like on the toilet.
Middle of you in like your most exposed state, and then an alarm signals. Oh, something's going on in here, and then the door flies open.
All the diarrhea you just evacuated out of your bowels shoots back up.
Oh my gosh!
In a jet speed. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I can't.
I'm never going to a public bathroom in Wales again.
You just can't. You can't even trust the toilets, man. The future. This is how technology wins. We circle back to this almost every podcast.
Technology is getting so advanced that humans are going to be obsolete very soon.
Absolutely.
The toilets are now the assassins.
The toilets can't even handle human activity. I mean, I get what Wales is doing. 200,000?
I mean, technology,
and it's a local small town.
It's gotta be like new technology. Whenever new technology comes out, it's expensive.
Yeah, I mean, this isn't like your typical bidet.
No, it's not like a typical bidet. My bidet, my old bidet from my old house that you used.
It was on my bucket list. I swear to God, I wanted to use a bidet.
And he's like, "You have a bidet?" I'm like, I call it a water fountain because it was right next to an actual regular toilet in my house, and I was like, if I have a choice to use a normal American toilet, or a French toilet, aka bidet, I'm choosing America every time. And Tony's like, I'll use it. So we're sitting on the couch, right? And Tony goes back there and tell us about your experience with my bidet.
It was much colder than I thought it would be.
Well, I mean...
And more unpleasant than I thought.
Yeah, he walks out and his face is just like like he just saw something that he knows was okay but disturbed him in a way that shouldn't have. I don't know what kind of face I'm explaining.
It wasn't... I wouldn't call it a bummer because I didn't have certain expectations going into it. I just thought, I get to use a bidet today. I'm so excited. I've
been bideted.
I lost my bidet virginity.
Oh God, Tony.
And it was
my virginity.
It wasn't that good.
Yeah.
It was just cold. It really was. It wasn't like a warm hot towel caressing my butt. It was just a sharp cold sting.
I don't know if there was a heat part. But my thing is, do you poop? Do you poop in the normal toilet and then bidet yourself?
I don't know. You have to ask the French.
I have no clue.
Or
but anyway,
the Europeans.
I'd kind of rather jet shoot up than just for water to squirt on. I'd rather go to the Welch bathroom and go, and then boom, just like clean me completely.
I don't know how much
do the courtesy flush and then it shoots at you.
So, but also like,
isn't that a waste of water though?
Yeah, so why not go to the handicap stall and just not put any weight or touch the toilet at all? Or just close the lid. What happens if you close the lid?
What if someone has a seizure in the handicap bathroom?
Yeah, the last thing they want is water being sprayed in them when they can't breathe. The doors flying open in a high-pitched alarm, just triggering them.
My thing is, the only way to do this right would be to put cameras in and have someone 24-hour monitor if it is a legitimate emergency or something bad that they don't want. And then that draws the line at super illegal as well. So it's like they're damned if they do and damned if they don't. So just don't.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm reading further down the article. I didn't really get this far. But it's other people being like upset about the toilet of like what happens like if a homeless man tries to sleep on it and it's like, okay.
Is the homeless man having coitus?
Yeah.
I don't think he'd have a problem.
And there's an article. Do I click the link? What's highlighted is a public toilet of shame.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
But it could be worse. In Siberia, a water company built a public toilet of shame outside in freezing cold temperatures to punish people who didn't pay their bills on time. I clicked the link. This is happening.
So they'll shut their water down if they don't pay their bill, and then they have to use the public toilet of shame?
Oh, I'm sure it's so cold. You ever, wake up in the morning?
Is this Serbia, you said?
This is,
Siberia?
Russia.
Siberia.
It's Russia. So
even
water
colder.
company in the freezing Russian region of Siberia has imposed a public toilet of shame outside the tower block to punish residents who don't pay their bills on time. The wooden single cubicle is also called Debtor's Toilet. I'm not even going to pronounce this Russian town.
This Russian town's name.
Has a sign on it which says, "This is a reminder to all of those who haven't paid their dets." The construction was highlighted by BBC.
Siberia's outside of the USSR,
it's just
but
cold.
they are still that that way.
So
You
I guess
still
if
have
you,
those remnants of communism.
it gets negative 28 Celsius in the winter months.
Dude, there's no way someone can pee in that.
It would freeze. It would turn into icicles shooting out.
How would someone poop? Their butt would be like I picture it as the tongue on the frozen pool.
Yeah.
Your cheeks are just done. You're ripping off skin.
Oh yeah. Well,
Yikes.
Can you imagine if somebody poured like a thin amount of water on the toilet seat
As a joke,
and then when you sat on it, it was just glued on?
I don't think in that. I gotta see the science in it, but I don't think negative 28 is. I don't think water cannot survive. I don't think it. There's a certain point where if you pour the water out, it just evaporates. It turns into gas.
Because it's so cold. That's like when you take the pot of boiling water and
throw it outside. Yeah, but I don't know if that's it. I don't know the science of it. I mean, it's probably.
I think last year in Siberia, it was actually colder than the surface of Mars. At one point,
wow,
it reached like negative 70 something. I've never heard of temperatures that low before.
How can people live?
Moral of the story: pay your bills. Don't have sex on toilets.
Moral of the story: public coitus wrong. Paying bills right.
Pretty much, or you'll learn the hard way. The wet way.
I didn't actually know this story was from Florida, mine, but I should have known just from the title. Cape Coral officers arrest dinosaur. Yep.
Okay.
This is in Cape Coral, Florida. The police department released information about a suspicious incident involving children and a dinosaur over the weekend. I'm definitely going to post the pic here of of the cop putting on the handcuffs on this guy in a dinosaur outfit. So, the T-Rex outfits, like the ones that blow up. Yep. Yeah. Uh-huh. You just said that exactly at the same time. Anyway, the police say that the dinosaur was seen chasing children, but was quickly apprehended by officials.
It's not funny.
And then the article says the police did note that handcuffing the T-Rex's tiny arms proved problematic.
It's like, put your arms behind your back.
He's just like...
Why did they leave him in the costume?
Dude, yeah, I don't know.
He can't properly...
It's Florida. Anything goes.
I love that.
My thing is, why was he chasing children? Who called the cops? Like, what if this is like the uncle and it's like a birthday party or something? Like, you don't know. It's a guy in a dinosaur costume.
I've worked in the mascot industry for a brief second. Mascot. So I know, like, just things get out of hand sometimes and you just got to just dive in. That's
like me calling the cops when you were playing the children in the basketball game, the mascots versus the kids basketball game. Uh-huh. And I'm like, there's a penguin chasing these kids around with a ball. Sir, we're on it. We heard the same exact story in Florida. We'll get them. And it says, Hartford County Police did note that handcuffing the penguin's flippers seemed really proved problematic.
He had no wrists and the handcuffs could not stay on.
This story, there's not a lot of meat here because the title is everything.
Pretty much. It's just the pictures are everything.
Yep.
I'll post how it can't fit. Look at how they put his arms behind his back. In his head.
Shove the head in. Like, they didn't even turn off the blow thing.
The
engine, the little fan.
And he's just sitting there and it's slowly inflating again.
I just don't understand.
What a time.
What a day and age to live.
Right?
Where dinosaurs are getting arrested.
Dinosaurs are ruling the earth again. But clearly not in Florida.
These things were big back in the day, like a couple years ago.
You have to have some big handcuffs to arrest them.
No, not like... I mean, these costumes.
I know.
They did like raves with them and like flash mobs with them.
Yeah.
And now they're chasing kids in public parks with
How
them.
the mighty fall.
Right.
It's sad. Speaking of lizards in Florida... so police are probing a lizard's disappearance from a Florida zoo.
Like a small one?
Yeah, I mean, it's like 18 to 20 inches long. And this lizard has been there for like 10, 15 years, I think, something
Yeah.
like that. A crazy long time at the zoo. It's been at this the zoo for 20 years, and it just went missing one morning. There's nothing special about the lizard, and it's only worth like $1,000, but they just don't know.
But I thought, I mean, was it in its own enclosure?
Yeah, it had its
or was
own
it
little
an actual
enclosure.
open one?
It wasn't like it was like an enclosed, like tank.
It was a tank?
Yeah.
This is foul play.
That's what I mean.
This has got to be an inside job.
It has to be.
Lizards are
Because it was just gone. They didn't
smart-ish.
notice anything. It was just gone. So, and it's valued at $1,000.
It
So
was just
where-
gone, and then Billy, the lizard keeper, was $1,000 richer the
Yeah.
next day.
He just buys a nice pair of shoes and they're like,
Yeah, where'd you get those Yeezys?
where'd you get those green and brown
Where'd you get those lizard
reptile
skin
skin
Yeezys?
Yeezys?
A special
Tell
order.
me.
You want a new? You wouldn't
Yeah.
understand.
But my question is, what were you doing August 27th overnight?
Look, I was at the zoo, but I didn't do it, man. I swear, man.
Okay.
I did it.
Hey.
Get him. Puts on my inflatable dinosaur costume. You'll never catch me, coppers. We can't handcuff his tiny hands. He's slipping away. And he just like, skirt, skirt.
What if those stories are linked?
What?
You know, it's like,
The reason he...
lizard goes missing in the middle of the day. Another type of scaly lizard reptile in Florida is
started
arrested.
chasing kids who were
Chasing
watching him for
kids.
20 years
Yeah.
through the glass of
Maybe
a
it's like
cage.
his uncle.
Maybe it's just him, and he
His
fell into the
robo- or
Teenage
his,
Mutant Ninja Turtle,
Goo.
the radiation goo.
Yeah, and I tell you, these stories add up. It's just Florida is an unbelievable country. I did it again. State.
I mean, honestly, I think there was a petition a couple years ago for Florida to be like annexed or something, to
You
become
just
its own
cut
state.
it right off.
'cause
It's just like cutting off a skin tag. You just,
Florida, wasn't it called the armpit of America?
yeah, I mean, it's
We-
just hot and swampy.
I'm so
and-
sorry to any of our Florida viewers out there. Like, Lord Almighty, you guys just have the funniest news, and it's too much, and we gotta.
I laugh at it because my in-laws live in Florida.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought, oh yeah, well half of them, right?
Yeah, they just moved in just randomly.
It's horrible.
And now I'm like, I laugh at Florida.
Now I laugh at you.
I feel like it's just a wild state, man. You got
it's got to be
lizards
an inside
going
job.
missing. The men of Florida just doing some crazy things.
Yeah, man. If I see one more story about you guys doing bath salts, you're in timeout forever, Florida.
We're gonna cut you off.
You're gonna have to pay your own rent now.
Yeah, but it will be easy though. You just dig a canal straight through Florida.
That's it.
It's mostly swamp anyway. It'll just flood itself.
Oh my god.
Let's start a petition. GoFundMe. Cut off the state of Florida.
Not like in a bad way. Just it's not you. It's us. Us being the U.S.
We just need time to grow.
We just need to be. We just need some time. We need some space. And if it works out in the future, we'll build a bridge.
Yeah. We'll rekindle this. What started.
I don't hate you. I'll always love you. But right now, I just don't like you.
I just
No.
need some. I think time and space. We just need like a 10-year break from Florida.
Florida, I just.
Close
I wish
the
you the
border.
best.
Close the border from Florida to Georgia.
Build. Oh, okay.
No.
No. We need the memes, Tony. We need the memes. Florida stays forever. Florida is the drunk uncle at the party that everyone's like, oh, here we go again. But then everyone deep down in their soul goes, oh, here we go
Yep,
again. It
uh-huh.
gets the camera out.
And they're like, oh,
starts
Uncle
recording.
Florida's at it again. And they're like,
Florida's going on a rant again
Say,
at
"All
the
right,
Christmas
But it's
party.
going to be entertaining.
Florida took off his pants at the Christmas party again.
Florida does have redeeming qualities. The
Old
Keys,
people,
some old people,
Disney
World,
Miami clubs,
yeah,
Miami
Vice.
I
love you.
Fist bump, love you too, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think that the good and the funny outweigh the bad.
Yeah, I think so too, my friend.
But if you find that lizard, let me know. I'm looking for that lizard. Up here in Maryland, we're looking for it.
Yeah. You need a big imagination to think of how that lizard morphed into the children chasing dinosaur man we just witnessed. You know what else needs a lot of imagination?
What? What does?
You need a healthy dose of imagination for these Japanese window food samples. Right? This does not sound... Yeah.
I don't understand what a window food sample is.
Have you ever been to a food truck and you see the rack outside and it has already plated food?
Yeah. Okay.
That isn't actual food, but it looks like the food. So it's either like wax or like they spray it with something or whatnot, just to show you what the plates look like.
Yes.
To show you what the food looks like, whatever you order. So it's not just like fish and chips. It shows like what the fish is going to look like and what the portion size of the chips are going to be.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, they do that with a lot of places. And in downtown in Japan, a lot of the street in the commercial district of Japan, a lot of the street restaurants will do this in the window. Like, you know how they say window shopping? Like, you look in the window and you see, like, things displayed. Well, the restaurant will do that in the window and show their already plated food. And it'll be, like, a piece of fish or miso soup or whatever. And they'll do all of this. But there is one business owner, and I'm going to put the pictures here in the video on YouTube, but I'll explain it to our audio listeners.
Okay.
It is absolutely hilarious. The restaurant just stopped and started using like almost Jenga pieces.
Like little blocks?
Yeah, with the meals written on them. So you see? It's literally like a plate, a beautiful plate in the window. A plate. And it's a block of wood with Japanese writing saying things like, you know, salmon roe and sea urchin rice bowl and other different platters and different delights in the area. I just think it's really hilarious.
Like, how lazy can you get? Just put a picture.
So it's not laziness, actually.
Is it?
The idea from them is most of the stuff in Japan, most of the window plating is made from plastic and wax. So the owner was like, we're producing all of this plastic and wax. He said it seems wasteful. So he's like considering how they could cut down on all this plastic usage. So they addressed the problem by placing the plates and the bowls with these blocks of wood with the Japanese writing on them so people can read it and they squint and they write sea urchin rice bowl or pickles with miso soup or whatever. And it's just...
But so what's the point of the visual aid of the block? Like, it just, how do you get from point A to point B? How do you get from window advertising to cutting down on waste to just
blocks of wood
on a plate?
I don't know.
Where's the connection?
There was another restaurant that knitted sewn samples.
Okay, I like that.
These are pretty hilarious too because you know anything that's sewn. These are actually really cool. I'll put this picture right here, right now. But it's like a plate and it's like crochet. It's like something I did in home ec in high school. Like a little thing. Like it's a knit together little stuffed animal. There's one of a tomato. There's one of like a kind of like piece of bread, a bowl of soup. But these get me too because the definition, the only reason you're putting this out there on display is to show consumers your product so that they will visually like it and buy it based on portion size, how it looks, you know, whatever. So they know what they're getting.
Yeah.
What are you getting with a block of wood?
Yeah, like
what visual?
Put a picture.
Take a picture.
Get a coloring book and draw it. Gosh.
Even with the sewn ones too, it's like art. It's beautiful.
It's well done. It's cute. It grabs your attention.
But it is not a valid representation of your product or service, my good sir. I just love it. Japan is so funny. And I'm going to get... You know what? If I was in Japan, I'd get mad at this and be like, you know what? I'm getting a chilled and grilled sweet potato from the vending machine.
From the sweet old man singing to me, yes. I know exactly what I'm getting.
Shout
That's
out
a
to
service.
last episode.
That's not a product. That's a service. Check that out.
If you haven't seen the last episode, watch it. Episode 2. No, it's episode 3. This is
3.
episode 4.
This is episode 4.
Holy crap! Watch episode 2 and 3. 1, 2, and 3. But episode 3, there's a Japanese story, hilarious, about some chilled and grilled sweet potatoes.
Yeah, it's so cute. Gosh,
love it, my friend.
Japan, you have some amazing, beautiful ideas. Yamaha, Mitsubishi, wow. Nintendo, all great stuff.
Sony,
rest
in peace.
Yeah, they're gonna get bought real soon.
Yeah, you can't kick the mouse and not expect to get eaten like some cheese, dog. How do you feel about that?
So at first, okay. So for those who don't know, for the Marvel movies, Sony lent Disney the rights to Spider-Man to make movies, and because Sony only owns.
So before Marvel was bought by Disney, they were just a comic book company and a production company in the sense of like ideas. And I think it was actually, I just read the article
in the
today.
90s. They were going
in 1999
bankrupt.
They sold the rights to Spider-Man to Sony so that they could make the Spider-Man superhero movies.
Yeah, as a cash grab so they could stay afloat. They sold a ton of characters. They sold Hulk. They sold
X-Men.
All of the X-Men.
Except
Fantastic
for like 2
Four.
of them that were in Deadpool.
Yeah, they sold a ton of stuff, so they lent them the movie rights, so that they can get a paycheck and make some stuff. So
when Disney bought the Marvel Cinematic Universe,
they didn't own all of the characters.
It's like they gave them a big stack of files, and they're like, "Here you go." And the Disney's like, "Yeah, here's your billions of dollars." And then they open up the files. They're like, "Okay, this one's filled. Good, good, good." The last one is just all blank pages, and they're like, "What the heck is this?" They're like, "Oh yeah, that's all the characters you don't own from our universe."
Yeah. Well, they sold all of before the last 10, 12 years. Nobody knew. Iron Man wasn't a common tongue character.
Nope.
Your big heavy hitting superheroes that you knew.
Superman,
Batman, Hulk,
Thor,
Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man was big.
And they sold Spider-Man, they sold Hulk, they sold Wolverine.
Yeah. X-Men were big too.
Yeah, all of your coined characters.
Yeah.
So Sony said, "Hey," or Disney. It was actually Disney's fault because they were producing.
Is that what you believe?
Well, I first read Sony's fault. Everyone was mad at Sony.
Everyone.
And then I read that Disney was the one that got greedy, but also Disney was kind of getting screwed over in the deal to begin with.
But how? Sony owns Spider-Man.
That's true. That's me Disney's own doing.
That's like me owning a bicycle and you wanting to use that bicycle to ride and make money off of. Mm-hmm. You're going to do a newspaper route, let's say. And then, actually, this scenario in my head just got weird too.
Oh boy.
So Disney was only making 5% of the movie rights, but Disney was making all of the merchandising rights.
Because I guess they were the one that's producing it
and everything. So they were making all of the merchandising rights and product rights, but on the movies themselves, Spider-Man, it was I think 95% to 5%, or it was 90-10. And so at the table, Disney was so the record are showing between 30 and 50%. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking because it's Disney, they're wanting 40 to 50%. Yeah. But it says that Sony was like, hell no, we own Spider-Man, are giving you the right to put them into your universe. We would still be doing Andrew Garfield things, which I was okay with. They're like, but you want this Tom Holland guy, and you want this Marvel Cinematic Universe, and you want to intertwine everything, and that's perfectly fine. Mwah, we'll give you Spider-Man, but we want the biggest cut of the movies. You can keep the merchandising and everything, and then Disney was like, no, we want 50-50, and we'll keep everything.
So yeah, it's Disney's fault. Disney got greedy.
It is.
They broke themselves. They got screwed. And apparently there's a new deal in the works. They're talking about it. They said, okay.
Well, Sony stocks fell because of
really?
stupid Twitter hashtag boycott Sony. Because people don't read into it enough. They don't get all the facts and they just blow up.
That's the power of building such a fantastic entertainment universe.
I think it's also because people don't think Disney can do wrong.
Oh, Disney can.
I know.
Disney's kind of creepy sometimes.
Look at Disney in the 40s. There were some issues.
There was a few issues. And, I mean, eventually it's going to go up to the point where you go out. Like, if you want to watch a movie, you go out to see a Disney or you stay home to watch a Netflix.
I hope. Yeah, I mean, they own 20th Century Fox, and that was one of their biggest competitors.
Yeah.
The only one who's showing up to them is Viacom. They own Paramount Pictures, Columbia, and like a bunch of different other things.
Yeah.
But Disney's a madhouse, man.
They really are. And
I just wanted to get your take because you're a huge Marvel guy.
I love it. And I also love movie news. I love movie business. I love knowing the works of everything.
Yeah.
And it's not just writer has an idea. He goes and gets a producer. He goes and gets a director. There's so much business involved with it.
Beautiful.
There's so much
it's art.
It really is. It's a
Picasso
delicate dance. And the movie industry, they say that the golden age of cinema has passed, but I disagree with that completely. I think that there is so much love for movie going now. The business has only gotten bigger, and a lot of that can be with credit to Disney.
Yeah.
Imagine how many timeless classics would be gone without Disney.
That's true.
And stuff from like Chitty Chitty Bang
But see,
Bang.
yeah, right. I think animation-wise, you're spot on. And Marvel superhero-wise, you're spot on. But there's so many other great movies that are done by so many other production companies. I think animation-wise, you're right. Like, anything animation, Disney just gold every time. It's just a gold bucket. Pixar, gosh, one of their best decisions was buying them. Well, I wish they bought them and like just let them be. But they were like, we'll just oversee a bunch more stuff. But who am I? But I think live action, I think there are better movie companies out there.
I like to. I think Fox Searchlight puts out a lot of good stuff.
Okay, I know what you're talking
and
about.
A lot of stuff is produced by Fox Searchlight, and there's a lot of directors out there that are working with their own companies or very small, very small production companies that make a lot of great stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of good movies out there that not a lot of people know. And I'm not going to be...
all that Sundance indie stuff.
Yeah, some of it's a little weird. But I'm not going to be the type of person to say, like, oh, you saw such a basic movie. I had a person say that to me. We were seeing Iron Man 3, and a person I go to high school, or we were talking about the movie, and they're just like,
basic movie?
Yeah. And we're like, oh, yeah, we saw Iron Man 3. He's like, what a basic movie. Just see.
What do you mean, like mainstream? Is that their definition?
Yeah,
of
pretty much.
basic?
He said, oh, we were basic. We weren't taking enough artistic integrity and going and finding something that has unique. I'm like, I just want to watch my movie, man.
All movies.
It's entertaining.
I would fight to say that even bad movies are art in itself. The Room?
Fantastically
horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But it's
pretty
a cult
bad?
classic.
I think it's one of the worst films ever created.
Even like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, like meant to be over the top.
It's
and
like, what am I watching? But what am I watching?
Yeah. The Room is like, I'm about to cringe, but I'm also about to laugh until I cry at a serious part in the movie, but it gives me so much joy that it's so bad. Yeah. But again, it's art in itself.
Yes, and movies have the power to do that. Movies can also, you can just be entertained. Yeah. Nothing has to be an art piece. Which
Nothing has to be a
I
French silent film in black and white with one little girl running around in a red dress to be, artistic. Yeah. To be a film you should be watching. All film, in and of itself, with a certain group of people, is art and should be watched.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I'm not going to watch Grey's Anatomy because it's not my preference, but that doesn't mean it's someone else's preference, and that doesn't mean I should fight them on it. and tell them how bad they are. Oh, you're watching that? So mainstream. Get out of my face. I watch Glass Anatoma from Brazil. It's like, you mean a medical show, but just in Portuguese? And they're like, yeah, really art.
Yeah. You know what? One of my favorite directors who makes a lot of weird stuff is Wes Anderson.
Absolutely phenomenal.
And his stuff is like just weird, and I guess you could say it's artistic.
The frames.
It's just so fun to watch.
The voice acting.
Yes.
Or live action acting.
He's made some amazing movies. He's made so many good stuff.
Yeah.
He's made...
Everything's a hit.
One of my favorite movies he's done was Grand Budapest Hotel.
Grand Budapest Hotel.
That is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen.
Absolutely phenomenal. It's got Voldemort in it.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's so good.
He's so funny.
Even the little Indian kid, I mean, just absolutely...
Get your hands off my lovey boy. Just so... It's funny stuff. There's I think it was an SNL digital skit. Yeah. It was a horror movie in the style of a Wes Anderson movie. It was so fun. It was so well done. You gotta show me that after the podcast. And it was...
have you seen Isle of Dogs?
No, I have yet to watch it. I really have.
So funny story about Wes Anderson. I didn't know who he was. He does Fantastic Mr. Fox, Grand Budapest Hotel, Moonrise Kingdom. Isle of Dogs was one of my favorite. Fantastic Mr. Fox. I don't know if I already said that.
Yeah. There's a lot of good ones that he's done.
Those are the big ones I've seen.
Yeah, those are probably his big
hits. I didn't know a thing about this man or his films until I went to Kenya on a missions trip.
Oh, really?
So I'm in the airplane over the Atlantic Ocean going to Dubai for my layover, and it was a 12-hour flight. I think it was it was between 8 and 12 hours. I forget. Yeah. I forget if it was 12 with the Dubai to
you were in a metal tube in the middle of the...
I was
for a long time.
For 12 hours. Yes. I think it was 8 hours there and then 4 hours to Kenya. But anyway, they have all of these movies, and I cannot find a good movie that I just was interested in. I look over to my left, and my buddy Ben Harris, you know Ben Harris, my brother-in-law now, was watching a movie on his headphones, and it was just some artistic... It just looked like claymation with dogs. And I was like, what the heck are you watching? They're like, well, I'm watching Isle of Dogs. He goes, and this guy is like an old Western kind of, yeah, boy kind of guy. Like, he's not going to be watching something...
works with his hands. Roughneck kind of guy.
Got the truck, got the horses in the back. He's a down-to-earth... regular Joe guy.
Black coffee kind of dude.
And he's watching this super artsy, it had like Japanese subtitles movie. And I went, what are you watching? He goes, this is a pretty good movie, dude. It's called Isle of Dogs. So I watch it. And I was like, at parts of it I was in tears. And at parts of it I was so mesmerized by the art and the voice acting and the script that it recommended me another one, Grand Budapest Hotel. Oh. Then another one, Moonrise Kingdom. Then another one, Fantastic Mr. Fox. Then another one, I forget what the other one was. But I went through this rabbit hole. And all I could talk about on the plane ride back was I'm like, they don't have any more Wes Anderson films. And I couldn't get enough of him.
Yeah. He's so quirky. He has such a unique style that you can never recreate or match. And I've never seen anyone do anything like it.
His frames.
You have to watch that sketch because it's funny.
I will.
And he uses a lot of the same actors for a lot of his stuff.
Yes.
He uses Edward Norton. Edward Norton he uses a lot of. And he's in the sketch. But in the sketch, he's Edward Norton playing Owen Wilson.
I love that.
It's so funny. It really is.
He also uses Bruce Willis in a lot of things.
Yeah. It's
so good.
Willem Dafoe is in a handful of stuff.
Yes, he is. He's actually in a lot of them.
Is he really? I didn't know he was. I know he was in Grand Budapest Hotel.
Yeah. He got George Clooney to play Mr. Fox. I remember that.
Did he really? Good for him. Yeah, he's a great director.
So good.
Good stuff. Fun stuff to watch. I enjoy
pop culture.
Pop culture itself is great.
It's just fun when you find little nuggets like that, because these were well-produced movies.
Yeah,
but they didn't get huge. They're gonna be cult classics though. They're gonna be they're going to be talked about in film classes, and they're going to be looked at and analyzed by some great minds.
Some of the best quotes I have, and it's just so. Grand Budapest Hotel is one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my entire life, and it doesn't have like the classic poop joke.
It's very smart.
It's a witty, quirky film, and everything about it works. And they're beautiful to watch.
They are
wonderful,
very beautiful
movies to watch. I still need to see Isle of Dogs.
Dude, you gotta watch it.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a wide spectrum. Getting back to what we were saying, there's a wide spectrum of what is considered a good movie, what is considered an artsy movie.
Yeah.
Everything in itself is art. You know, you can have wonderful visuals, and
the first Mission Impossible was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, and it wasn't anything like special, but it was. I mean, define special again. But someone who likes only like kind of Mission Impossible type things, like my dad, he'll fall asleep at anything that doesn't have gunshots every 30 seconds.
Yeah, and it's like, you know, you can get more wrapped up in characters.
Yeah, but that's what he loves. He loves that storyline, like the vengeance kind of thing. I'm gonna avenge my family. I'm gonna get this guy. I'm in the Navy SEALs. Like, he loves that kind of stuff, and it is art in itself.
Yeah, it's there's a good channel on YouTube called Corridor Crew.
Corridor Crew.
Yes.
Shout out.
Yes. They don't know who we are.
Nope.
No, but they do. They have professional FX guys, video FX guys, reacting to
movie
like
special
good
effects?
and bad CGI or movie effects, and then they also do one with stuntmen, because one of the guys that they bring in all the time is a stuntman that's worked in like a lot of big movies, and TV shows, and stuff that we just brisked over to a certain audience. People are wowed and amazed at.
Crazy.
And he's just like, this shot right here is a work of art. I have no idea how they're able to pull that stuff off. There's a lot of crazy stuff that you can do in movies.
Yeah.
And, there's so many good movies out there that are so interesting and intriguing that you just don't think about, really.
That's true.
It's just, there's so much stuff that you skim over that you just never knew this existed. Never knew you had to think about this.
Except for Star Wars. Star Wars is everywhere. Star Wars is everywhere.
You know what? What made Star Wars so good in the 70s and the late 80s is, one, I mean, yes, that's something like that hasn't really been attempted before.
It created the green screen, aka it was the blue screen back then.
And yes, and I mean, like, you look at who's the guy that did The Shining? What's his name? The director. Crazy guy.
I know exactly who you're talking about.
Gosh, it's gonna bug me.
I know.
But in 2001,
the face in my head.
2001, A Space Odyssey.
Oh, such a great movie. That was
that was like
him
a
and
pioneer
Steven Spielberg
in,
were not enemies, but they were like frenemies.
Gosh, what is his name? Stanley Kubrick.
Yep. He
really revitalized a lot of what that they were doing. I'm sorry, my wife is blowing up my phone.
Oh my gosh.
I can't believe she wants to know if you want ice cream from McDonald's. Like, what do you want?
Caramel sundae.
Okay.
I think this is a good spot to stop for an ad.
Yes.
Everybody.
We have an ad?
Yeah.
Wow.
We are sponsored by ourselves, the Dad Bods Patreon. Right. If you like the show, if you want to support the show, our Patreon. The link is in the description, and the link will be on Podbean and on the Spotify and on everything. Click on it. Go check us out. All we ask is $1 a month to support the show. If everyone gave $1 a month, we'd be in half decent hands right now.
Yeah.
It's just going to pour back into the show, support us. So if you like what we're doing, if you want to support what we're doing, we'll make more funny videos on our YouTube channel. But right now, DriveTimes podcast is going to be the main thing. But if you like what we're doing, $1 a month or more.
But we would love just your support.
Any support.
Absolutely. I'm actually the first contributor to our Patreon.
Yeah.
I contribute $5 a month.
Which You could have just given that to the podcast, but I like the style. Show people that we are getting supported by
we're doing this for more than ourselves.
Yeah.
We're doing this because it's fun, and we're doing this for
our kids.
Future sake. But we're not going to talk money. We're not going to go into it. We just thank you guys for even the viewership or the talking about it, or just the saying like, hey, check out my friends. They do a podcast.
Like, subscribe, comment what you would like us to talk about. Comment what you think we could do better on, what we did good, if you find it funny. If I need to get a haircut, if Tony needs to stop texting his wife in the middle of the show. No, I'm just kidding.
She offered to get me ice cream.
I did. I heard the buzzing. I heard the buzzing under your thigh because you have it under your thigh on the chair. And
she texted me once. I'm like, it's nothing.
That's so funny.
And then she blew up my phone because I think that she was in the middle of the drive-thru.
Once you get more than a couple texts,
it's pretty.
And
serious.
You look at it's like your significant other. Your mind just automatically, she's dead.
I think
There's
I immediately think the worst. I 100% immediately think that she's dying.
It's the human.
Like she's like, I can't call you right now, but just so you know, I'm about to be taken. I have to get Liam Neeson. It's going to be a whole thing.
Oh my gosh. I got to call Liam Neeson. I got to get his butt down here to Maryland. And we're going to find my freaking wife who got freaking taken. But back to Stanley Kubrick. What were you talking about with him? 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yeah,
amazing.
So he pioneered the way for a lot of the VFX shots.
Yeah.
Like old school, like before VFX, or there's just FX, like practical effects. There was a scene where the character fell asleep on an airplane or a space plane jet.
A space plane jet. We'll go with that.
One of those, and his pen floats out of his pocket and starts floating in the middle of the air. And then the flight attendant walks back and grabs it and puts it back in his pocket. That was a shot that they said took forever to get because what they did was they took a very clear plane of glass and a little tiny sticky pen to it. And then they
moved the glass?
They moved the glass like it was floating very gently. And then the actress plucked it, and you can actually see her pull it off, get it to unstick from the glass, and then slip it back into his pocket.
That's insane.
Yeah, there was a scene Christopher Nolan, who did Inception, The Dark Knight Rises, Dunkirk,
the Dark Knight trilogy,
a whole bunch of crazy, beautiful
really good,
stuff.
Beautiful movies.
Memento was one of my favorite movies. My favorite is The Prestige. That's my favorite movie ever.
Was that Christopher Nolan?
That was Chris Nolan.
Wow. Great movie.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Hugh
really
Jackman.
Great. Such a good twist.
Hugh Jackman.
So he likes to use a lot of practical effects, and he's using the same style of effects that Kubrick used 40 years before him. When he was doing Inception, they created this hallway that was almost like a Ferris wheel that would rotate. And they used that. Kubrick had it created for a specific shot, for one shot.
And they
said,
used
I need this entire $100,000, almost $1 million contraption used, so that they can get a shot of a guy walking in a circle, but
wow.
Yeah, just a crazy thing. But
Inception was amazing.
Star Wars paved the way with a lot of that. They took a lot of that and used. They used models and...
oh, my gosh. The 3D models, man.
Yeah, they really did really good and got it all to look great without... great...
For the time. For
the
70s,
time.
man.
It was amazing. You have these long, drawn-out shots of these big ships flying, and you're like, should we
lasers.
Do that? Oh. All that kind of stuff. The sound editing
lightsabers,
alone
yes.
is amazing. But all of that, and in the 80s, they redid Flash Gordon. Thinking, and they got Freddie Mercury to Queen to do the soundtrack. They're like, this is gonna be a hit, but it's
one of my favorite Queen songs. Flash. Oh, he's the savior of the universe.
Yeah, but they thought that was what's gonna be, if they make it a big space opera, that's what sells because that's what sold Star Wars. But no, that's not what sold Star Wars. The characters is what sold Star Wars. The lore.
Yeah.
The universe that it was built in is what sold the movie.
Exactly.
And you don't. The new
Fun
trilogy.
fact about Star Wars is George Lucas only set out to remake his childhood hero Flash Gordon, but they would not give him the rights to make Flash Gordon, and that's what prompted him to create his own universe. If they would have said, you know what, George? We'll give you a chance with Flash. We would never have Star Wars.
Can you imagine a world
Jedi
without Star Wars?
Sith,
the Force,
good versus evil.
A lightsaber. You don't know how many times.
Yoda.
Oh my God.
This helmet, it's in our shop right now from the Clone Wars.
We wouldn't have any of that. Everything ties back to Star Wars.
This shirt. This guy behind me. Plo Koon.
I tell you, everything goes back to it. What did you see the trailer for Rise of Skywalker? What'd you think?
So good.
What'd you think?
So a lot of people have been angry about, or not angry, but just like contemplating and don't understand and like have all these like weird theories about Dark Rey. Did you see that part?
Yes, I did.
Where Rey
at the very end,
with the double lightsaber,
which is sick.
Yeah. Well, they also made memes about it too. Like it looks like a a Swiss Army knife. So there's a shot of her with it opened up, and it's got like a corkscrew and like a
like a bottle opener.
Yeah. I died, and they're all
funny.
like red lasers. But anyway, so I know exactly what that is, and I can bet money on it.
Is this similar to what Luke went through in Dagobah?
Damn it, Tony!
Did I get it?
That's exactly what I think it is.
Wow!
But I can't. I don't understand Red-Eyed C-3PO though.
That I don't
know.
What if that's not? It might not be 3PO.
Just be hacked.
Ooh, that'd be creepy. Because
they're robots.
Didn't they make? It looked like a protocol droid, but it was in like an assassin droid.
Yes, to kill Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan, they had a droid, like a protocol droid.
But it also was like in all black and like real creepy looking.
Yeah, so that could be it too. That could be they just create a C-3PO type protocol droid to infiltrate the Resistance. That might be it too. But dude, exactly for our viewers who don't know, in Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, Luke goes in Dagobah into this tree where this like the darkness is, like the dark side of the Force dwells, or really strongly, and he goes in and he fights Darth Vader, only to realize that Darth Vader is him. So he's facing himself as the evil one, like the darkness inside of him, and every Jedi kind of has to do that and is trained to do that, is to take on the darkness inside and kill it. Mm-hmm. And Rey, as a Jedi being trained by Luke, I think the same type of thing happens, and she has to fight herself, the Dark Rey. So, but a lot of people are just like, oh, it's Dark Rey, like she turns to the dark side, oh, I knew it, ha ha ha, like there's a dark side to Rey, and it's like, well, it might be, but I'm pretty sure that Jedi lore they're going to reincarnate into this movie.
I think so.
I'm excited.
I'm really excited for that. What I loved about that scene, that a lot of things were overlooked. Back to the original scene.
Yeah.
On Dagobah.
1983.
No. 80.
Don't.
Look at me correcting you. You're the Star Wars guy.
I'm about to rip my shirt off.
We'll switch. Well, Yoda says to Luke, he says, like you'll only bring, or like the only things you will see is what you take with you. And he's saying like, leave the lightsaber. You don't need it. You don't need to. You don't need it. But what he brings in the violence, he brings in this angst that he has, and this hatred towards Darth Vader, or soon to find out his father. He said, Yoda says, you'll only bring in. Or you'll only find what you bring with you. Sure. I can't remember the exact line, but that amazed me. That, looking back on it, rewatching it, like I did a few months ago.
So good.
You missed so many good teaching moments.
Oh, so good.
Just the wisdom of a short little green frog, man.
And people can fight about how bad they think The Last Jedi was. I thought it was a really good take on it, and I understand a lot of what the director saw and pushed towards and did. With a lot of different things. Of course, no movie is perfect, and you can't capture magic and put it in a bottle for 30, 40 plus years and just release it back into a movie. You have to recreate your own magic and your own story and your own vision. I think they did that really well. But you cannot deny the power and the weight of older Luke being mentored once again by the Force Spirit Yoda in that scene.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill, and they brought back, it wasn't Frank Oz. It was, because I think he's dead. I forget. There's two of them. It was Frank Oz.
Yeah, I think it was.
Because Jim Henson's the one who's dead. They
Yes.
brought back the original puppet and Frank Oz to do that.
I loved that. That was one of the best redeeming qualities of that movie.
Oh, it was so good.
And a lot of the things that I didn't like about it was probably pushed by Disney to make more kid friendly.
See, I don't even...
The whole thing about them being on the casino planet and releasing the...
Oh, the side story?
Yeah, the whole side story with Rose and
I didn't think it
Finn.
was that bad. I mean, remember episode 2 when they're all fighting in the Senate about politics for like 30 minutes and talking about proceedings and democracy and everything. It's just exposition to build the story, and you do it in a way that, I don't know. I enjoy that because I'm such a fan of everything. But there's so many people who just are like, this isn't like the extended universe. And I'm like, dude, take your extended universe, wipe your arse with it, and flush it down the toilet. Yeah. It's awesome for what it is, but this is new. And this is what it is.
Yes, it was. And you can't tell the same story over again. And I think why people got upset with it was because they created their own predictions and they drew their own conclusions with the movie from the trailers or from what they think is going to happen.
Right.
And when
they already knew what they wanted when they walked in, and they didn't have an open mind to what came and what was given.
And
to them.
because they've had it all before. Your destiny of who you are, who your parents are. Like, oh, who's raised parents? And they're just like, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. And you're right.
Even though we're going to find out in this next movie.
Even though we're going to find out, they probably do it.
But it doesn't matter for this movie.
It didn't matter.
Stop complaining. Stop yelling.
That's like when like a movie ends before you find out exactly what happened, because you're like, oh, but the movie ended. Why didn't we?
Like
get
at the end of Inception.
Yes, was it a dream?
I was gonna say spoiler alert, but you've had enough time to watch Inception.
Yes, you should. But it's like,
was it? Is it? Are they in the dream world?
That's not what matters.
Why do I have to come up with my own conclusion? I have to have original thought. I have to. Shut up.
Yes, you do.
Shit. I just said the S word, didn't I? Sit down. Shut up. And watch the vision of the director and the vision of the screenwriters and just love it.
Yeah.
Or just take it in at least.
Yeah.
Take it in with an open mind.
And it's
don't base
not,
it off of others.
It's not always about the destination. It's about the journey. And people always forget that. They always do. They always forget about what they learned along the way. They you know, the common moviegoer is probably not like a like they probably can't write their own movie, or they probably can't, you know, like come up with like these essays on what they think. They don't. But you can understand what a director is saying by reading between the lines.
Yep.
And I've forgotten that for a while. And revisiting stuff, you have to remember, like, if the movie ends before you find out what happened to the main character, then the movie's not about the main character. It's not about if he survived.
Wow.
It's not about...
Wow.
Yeah.
Add in Owen Wilson. Wow.
We need a soundboard for that.
Yes. Wow. I'm telling you, dude. Let's get a soundboard.
Oh boy, that's gonna be our downfall right there.
Right.
But, you ever seen the movie The Grey with Liam Neeson?
Yes. Oh my gosh, where he puts the glass
Spoiler.
bottles.
Skip like 20 seconds if you don't want to find out what happens in the movie Grey.
Well, you should have already watched it.
You should. You got 3 seconds. 2, 1. Okay. So in the end, what happens is he goes
the bottles.
Yes, and that's not
the mini bar shit.
He starts the movie with no will to live, but things were just going okay for him. You know, yeah, his wife died. Yeah, he's all sad. He's like living in a dim world. Yeah. But he ends the movie soaking wet in the freezing wilderness, starving, dehydrated, cornered by wolves.
Like a huge wolf.
But he found his sense of purpose again.
Yep.
And he was about to blow his brains out in the beginning of the movie.
Yep.
But he ends fighting with every last
for the ounce of his life
that he has. And you never find out what happens to him, except for the post-credit scene. But it shows that he's still breathing, and it shows that the wolf is still breathing. But they both like, pretty much killed each other.
Yeah,
that's pretty much what happens in the end of the movie.
Oh, so good.
But that's not about the movie. It's not a survival movie. It's about what happens. So we went on a huge tangent there.
I love it. Though.
You know what? We're a good news, fun, lighthearted podcast.
Pop culture, just
but you know,
fun things.
I'm glad that I'm glad that you guys were along the ride with us. Thank you for.
Tell us what you think about this Spider-Man, Sony, Marvel, Disney, TIFF, and also about the new Star Wars. If you're excited for it, leave a comment.
I'll comment.
Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you liked it, if you enjoy what we're talking about, just enjoy the, lighthearted funness. Just share it with a friend, share it with family, share it with anyone who drives to work every morning, just wanting to listen to something that they can laugh at or think about, or just be a little uplifting with.
Yeah, and this is our 4th episode. We're still learning.
Tell us what we can improve.
Seriously, give us some feedback. We appreciate it. We're gonna flesh out. We're just gonna go with, and we're gonna end up wherever it goes.
This has been DriveTimes.
Thank you guys for hanging out with us.
My name is Alex.
My name is Tony.
And we are the Dad Bods. Signing off.